Good morning, everyone. We are so glad that you are here at a moment of hope. I am so excited to have some friends of mine as guests this morning from Positive Tomorrows, Kelly and Margaret. Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, Micah. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. If you have been with us for a moment of hope, you know that our goal is to just introduce you all to some of our collaborative partners and some of our friends that do the work of helping families and individuals who are experiencing homelessness. And Positive Tomorrows is one of those amazing organizations doing that work. So, Kelly and Margaret, tell us a little bit more about Positive Tomorrows.
Yeah, we are the only elementary school in the state that is specifically serving kiddos and families that are experiencing homelessness. So all of the kiddos at our school are either currently homeless or have very recently been homeless. So they're living in one of three basic situations. They're either in a homeless shelter, they're in transitional living. So they're, where everybody, that's where we want everybody to be. They're on their way out to being self-sufficient, to moving out of homelessness, or they're couch homeless, and that's just sort of is what it sounds like it is. They bounce around from place to place, and we just never really know where they are from night to night. So that can look like tents, that can look like a car, that can look like an abandoned building or an abandoned home, or that can look like a motel for some of our families too. So that's the most unstable situation that we see, and Kelly's team really works really hard with our parents to partner alongside them and look at those goals of where they need to be for their families and what do they need to overcome and how can we help them work through that so that they're in a more self-sufficient situation. So we're transporting kids to school every day, to and from school, 3 meals a day, hot breakfast, hot lunch, big snack in the afternoon, and that snack is to serve as dinner for our kids if necessary. And then anything they need to do school, so clothing, shoes, school supplies, backpacks, whatever they need to come to school every day, we provide for them. We're a fully accredited private school. We are serving ages birth. We just added early Head Start, so we have babies here now. So that started in November. So we're birth through 6th grade. Our enrollment capacity is the highest it's ever been. We have 108 enrollment spots right now, and we're in the high 90s for actual kiddos enrolled. So this new facility has allowed us to grow our school, even during a global pandemic, which has been hard. But Kelly's team has been knocking it out of the park and really, getting as many kiddos to school every single day that we can. So we've been in school this whole time. We did close after spring break, like everybody did, and finished out the year virtual. But then we started right back up with summer camp and had kids here all summer, and we've had kids in school all day, every day, all year long. So we're really grateful to be able to see our kiddos every day, to make sure that their bellies are full and make sure that they have everything they need, and to make sure that we're supporting those parents. I mean, we had a lot of parents that lost work, severely reduced work hours because of COVID, and thanks to Kelly's expertise and his leadership in that area, we had none of our families that were evicted in the pandemic because they couldn't pay their rent. So we were able to help with a lot of that due to some generous donations from a lot of people. So we're grateful to be where we are and in the space that we're in and serving the best kids and the most amazing resilient families that we can think of.
Yeah, I recently heard that Oklahoma is number 1 or 2 for adverse childhood experiences, and
yeah, we're 7th worst in the nation for family homelessness. So
yeah, and so that incredible work that you're doing to help stabilize those families is just tremendous. Your new facility is remarkable. I haven't done a tour of it myself, but I can't wait to do that. So Kelly, tell us about the work that you do.
Sure. I think that the unique thing about Positive Tomorrows, beyond us being an amazing elementary school for children experiencing homelessness, that's unique in itself. But the thing is, we're working with the whole family at the same time. So it truly is wraparound services, truly is holistic. So while the children are getting a quality education and in our after school program, just allowed to be kids, we're out there doing intensive case management, working on housing, income, mental health issues, making sure they get connected to stabilizing factors. And the other thing we're doing is helping the children become stabilized with health and mental health services. So we're connecting the parents and the kids to doctors, taking the kids to dentist appointments. We're making sure they get a screening for audiology. And part of the process we have is that if we identify there's a need maybe for eyeglasses or for speech or for occupational therapy, then we can actually take the kiddos to the doctor, get the prescription for those services. And then we host those service providers, whether it be a professional counselor, an occupational therapist, whatever, a speech therapist here at Positive Tomorrows, and then get the parent connected to that service provider. And so now we have not just provided a screening, but a long-lasting service. Similarly, with our services for parents, we want to look towards the future. So beyond just outputs or activities of connecting someone to a resource, but actually putting things in place to help them get stable and then staying with them. So rather than just walking with someone through the rehousing process, staying with them even after they've left here. We hired a transition coordinator so we can work with families longer. And our goal is not to see someone just get out of homelessness to return. We want to see them overcome homelessness and begin to rebuild their lives in a way where they don't have to go back to that situation of poverty. And they're doing the work. We're there supporting, guiding, opening up doors, pointing directions, and then being there if there's any kind of pitfalls, which there are, and barriers to remove those. But the main thing that we're doing is believing in parents and giving them the dignity and treating them with the value that they deserve so that they can reach those goals they have for themselves and their families.
Well, and that's so important. And that's one of the things that Upward Transitions does so well, and you guys do too, is the battle is navigating the systems. And the wraparound of those families is so crucial as they not only are you supporting their kids, and so that gives them a peace of heart while you're educating their children, but helping them navigate the systems is tremendous, and that helps them give them some stability as their kids get their bellies full and their minds sparked. That's awesome. So how has COVID impacted what you guys, Margaret, I see you kind of smirking. How has that impacted what you've done at Positive Tomorrows? That has got to be a challenge.
Yeah, well, in the beginning, we were all just scared, like everyone was, and so we did close. But we know our families need us. We know, our parents don't have the resources to go from store to store to store to look for toilet paper, right? So what we just started doing was we closed. We had limited staff that would come in, and then we just started pushing outwards. Instead of having people come to us, we went to them. So that included teachers. We got everyone hooked up with either internet where they were, thanks to Kelly's team, and I was able to get my hands on some hotspots for our families. So anybody that didn't have internet where they were living, we got them hotspots, and we were able to get them their classroom Chromebooks. So the Chromebooks from their classrooms here, we just sent them home with the kids. The kids are familiar with those devices. So they were able to start doing school at home, wherever they were. And our teachers even went out and did parking lot lessons with our kids. That's what I've been calling them. So they would go out to where they were and meet with them. Our counselors would sometimes go with them. Our special education teacher would go with them sometimes. And then Kelly and his team were really making sure that all of their basic needs were met. So cleaning supplies, does everyone have masks that needs them? Toilet paper, food. The community really poured into us and brought us all the things that our families needed, and we were able to turn around and deliver a whole lot of stuff for our families for a while. So they were delivering 2 times a week, sometimes more than that, depending on what a family needed. And really, it's Kelly's team does a great job of really pinpointing what each family needs. So I think it's one of those things that everyone assumes, okay, there's got to be some magic answer that's going to solve all of homelessness. And it's not. It's really individualized, and Kelly's team really assesses every single family and figures out exactly what they need, and not just shoving things in front of them and not doing things for them, but really working together so that if they have to navigate this again, they know how to do it on their own. So they're doing a great job of that. June 8th, we started back school here with summer camp. So kiddos started coming back on site. So that meant everything was at less capacity. So vehicles had to do multiple routes because we could only be 25% capacity on vehicles, skipping rows between family units, those kinds of things. And then each of our classrooms, I have to say, The fact that we were not full was a huge blessing this year. Our school will hold up to 210 kids, that being 20 in a kid classroom, 20 kids in a classroom with 2 adults in every room. So we already had our 20 kid classrooms with a certified teacher and an aide in every room. And the way that our classrooms are set up here, they have 2 classrooms beside each other, but there's a room in between that we call a touchdown space. And that space we typically use for testing kiddos, small group work, if they need a counselor to come see them really quick, if behavior observations, that kind of stuff usually happens in that room. It's a glass walled room so we can see what's going on. So a teacher can manage her classroom, but also manage what's going on in that little room. So we just split every classroom that was in one of those rooms into 2 and put a teacher over here and a certified aide over here. And then they just switch back and forth. So the teacher's still able to teach all 20 kids split into 2 rooms. And just switch back and forth with her aide, so everybody's still got an adult in the room. We're also, kids are wearing masks all day. It's, people have a hard time wearing them, but I always say if a kindergartner or a pre-K or positive you. So we're wearing masks all day, every day. And then there's just 2 kids per table, and they've got a plastic plexiglass divider in between them. So Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, but kids in school, we've only had a total of 2 really that have tested positive, 1 that was in school, 1 that was over the holiday break, so they weren't here in school when they were exposed or tested positive. So we've only had to quarantine 2 classrooms 1 time each, and 1 time that was a pre-K class, and they were just really sniffly, and we just thought they all needed to go home and get well. So we just wanted to be really safe with them, but we really have only had 1 classroom that needed to be quarantined. And, Dan Strawn's put out some really good information recently about COVID and homelessness, and how our families and our clients are just not the people going to bars, and they're not the people that are going to a bunch of restaurants. So they're not the carriers of COVID, which we would think, being a very transient population, that maybe they would be in more places and be around more people. But they're really not. We are the danger to our kids, and we are the danger to our clients, because we're the ones going out to restaurants and doing those things as people who can do those things. So we're all just trying to be really safe around here and really know that we are responsible for what's going on in our school, and so make sure that this is a safe place for our families.
Right. If I may talk a little bit about our leadership during COVID, we've really been lucky that Susan Ogle, that's our president, she's really been just connected to the health department, to just daily briefings, finding out the information we need. And once we determined, hey, we're going to open back up, we challenged ourselves to be the leaders and innovators, thinking, if we can't be creative and come up with a solution, then who are we looking to be those innovators? And alongside, we have Margaret and the development team are just seeking out every funding source possible to come up with creative ways to house families. We've shelters have shut down. We already have very few spaces for families to go into shelters. If you're a couple, there's really 1 shelter with very few spaces, with lots of barriers regarding if you're married and who's on the birth certificate. So just 1 space, and if that's full or you can't go back there, then you're out of luck. So we've got to be very creative. How do we not only help people get housing, but in the meantime, during a pandemic, stop them from being transient or this rapid residential mobility, meaning staying in house to house to house. So we have a leadership and development team that works closely with the program staff and program directors to figure out, if we could come up with anything that will work, what is that going to be? And then what resources do you need to be able to make that work? And so we've really let the innovations and the strategies drive what we do, and then find ways to supply that effort. And it's really allowed us to help get people into housing, to get new sources of revenue, to be able to put people in motels rather than on the street or bouncing place to place. And we continue to think of ourselves as the people who have to come up with a way to reach clients that typically can't be reached. And earlier, Micah, you mentioned navigating the systems. And so that's already difficult when you're experiencing homelessness. Typically,
Absolutely.
any kind of institution, you have to wait for a phone call back. Well, that's a different ballgame if your phone is out of minutes or you don't have a phone anymore. You have to give an address. You have to be at an appointment on time. Or maybe you get a letter that's telling you that you're no longer a client. And if you throw out all of those as possible ways to contact a client, then the likelihood of them getting and staying with a service is very slim. So that individualization comes from relationships, from us getting to know the families in a way where when no one else will be able to meet their needs, well, we've got to figure it out. Does that mean driving to their house and giving them a letter face to face? Does that mean knowing where they work and where they like to meet, how they like to be contacted, whatever it takes? So it's kind of a by any means necessary. And we also are able to really meet them and walk back. What is the barrier to their housing? And that's where we use partners like Upward Transition to think, okay, well, we're not even at money for rent. They don't even have the driver's license or ID to apply. So let's start at Upward Transitions. And so when things started closing down, an already difficult thing became more difficult. And so at first there was the initial shock of what do we do? And then after that was, okay, we're going to be the ones to try to figure out how to do this and move forward. We've been very successful at containing the cases of COVID we've had. None of them have spread to other people. And we've been able to stay open and provide a service which we think is so valuable and necessary for our community.
Well, I brag on you guys all the time. I just think what you guys do is remarkable. And Margaret knows this, that my kids have an affection for your organization as well. They have just connected with what you guys do for other children, and they see the smiles on your kids' faces and just connect with that mission and purpose. And so I just think that what you're doing for families experiencing homelessness is remarkable. And I wish, Margaret, you said a minute ago that there's not one solution for homelessness. Mm-hmm. And I wish more people would really absorb that. Mm-hmm. And that would be part of the larger conversation in our community. And I know there are large systemic things that we can do as a community, have conversations about affordable housing and those kind of things. But the things that you are doing at Positive Tomorrows with the individualized support is exactly how we need to address some of the things that we're seeing in our community. How do we scale that up to a countywide and a statewide solution? I'm not sure yet. But we'll get there with amazing organizations like yours leading the way. And we are so glad at Upward Transitions to be a partner. Because we consider ourselves the experts in driver's license and identity and helping with rent and utilities and those kind of things. And so, when you guys come calling and saying, hey, we need something for one of our families, we're very happy to be there and assist because we know that you guys are doing amazing work. And so if there was one thing you wanted somebody who didn't know anything about Positive Tomorrows to know, what would it be?
You want me to go first? I'll go first.
You go first, yeah.
What we do here works. I was able to study our impact a little over a year ago and look at where families were that we turned away versus because we were full, and that's a sad case. We're full oftentimes and have to turn people away. And I looked at them versus the families that we were able to serve. And there's just such a significantly greater chance that they're going to be in housing, doing well. And not just in housing, paying the rent, but a lot of them were involved in extracurricular activities with their kids. I'm coaching volleyball. I'm going up to the school meeting the teacher. And they're getting to live the life that all of us think our families deserve. And all families deserve to have a chance, an opportunity to raise their children in a safe environment and give them a path to success. And I know the work we do here not only is special and unique, it works. And that's what I want people to know about Positive Tomorrows. We help families overcome homelessness and poverty in a lasting way that's going to change their children's lives and change communities.
Yeah, and I think that you have some assumptions about what a homeless child will look like, act like. And I challenge people to come visit us and come see our school. And what you'll see here is not a bunch of kids that are misbehaving. You'll see kids that are struggling, but are working through things with the coping skills that we're able to help them find. And they're happy and they love to be at school. And they're funny and they're smart and they're just like every other kid.
Yeah.
And they're going to get through this. So it's I challenge people to don't just hang out on social media. Come see us. I do virtual tours. Mike and I are going to get that done for her kids hopefully very soon. But we are doing small in-person tours, and the kids love it when you show up for them. And it's not seen by the kids as somebody's here staring at me. That's my community. Those are the people that give me the things that I need to do school. So the kids know that when their birthday comes along, that there's a volunteer that's providing all of those things for them, and the clothes that they get, they understand that that's from their community who loves them and is pouring into them. And so I would say, come see our school. It's a happy place. It's not a super sad place. There are some tough things that we talk about, but it's a really happy place to be in. I never want to work anywhere else.
I talked at a service club at an elementary school pre-COVID. Feels like a lifetime ago. And we were talking about homelessness, and they were like, how do I talk to them? And I said, guys, they're just like you. They're just like you. Margaret, you are so right. And I said, start by looking them in the eye, say hello. They're just people just like you. And I think that's exactly right, Margaret. I think breaking down the barriers and building relationships and getting to know one another and seeing the smile on the kids at your school's faces, I think will melt anyone's heart. I think it'll do it. I think it really will. So
everything is on relationships, right? I mean, everything in the world is. So if we can start there, I think we can go pretty far.
Yeah,
I agree.
I am so grateful to you both for taking the time to share about Positive Tomorrows and all the amazing work that you're doing for the families that are experiencing homelessness and the remarkable model that you're using to do it. Everyone, you can learn more about Positive Tomorrows. Where should they go, everybody? I'll put it in the comments. Is it positivetomorrows.org? Tomorrows, if I can spell .org.
We're on all the social medias, so
all of them,
Facebook and Twitter and all the things. So
very good.
We also have a YouTube channel that has some videos about our school too, and a virtual tour there.
Very good. Everybody, this has been a moment of hope with Upward Transitions. I hope you find a little hope in your day and have a wonderful one. Bye.